let's do this week's episode of the draft. As I said I would, we're on writing the first draft part 2. I'm just going to talk about specific things I do when I'm writing the draft. I already told you when I do my first draft, it's whatever's in my head, it's just coming out, it's pouring out, right? But I do have these little tactics I do to get through the draft, like specifically maybe like things will pop in my head. And this becomes more of a thing when I'm building and fleshing out the second draft. Is this just writing down changes as they come to me? Just writing them down in the notes section, in the tabs of the draft. I'll literally act out the characters. I have to hear them. For dialogue, I do have to hear what they're saying to each other, so I will talk it out, not just write it down. I gotta hear it. And then I guess sometimes too, I gotta literally flesh something specific out to get over the hump of a problem and solve a problem. Like some random thing might pop into my head that I gotta fix, and then I'll go over into the tabs section and just write out all this stuff to help me fix that problem. It could be the most random thing, and then it helps me fix it and I can move on. But if I'm stuck, I do find myself doing that. An example once was I wasn't 100% on a character. I was not sure what the character's arc was, so it turned into this whole fleshing out of like what kind of person he is, and I even like built out a history for him that is unnecessary. You don't have to do it. It's not. I mean, I do that for most of the characters in the beginning when I'm prepping a lot of this, when I'm outlining, but I've learned more and more that it doesn't have to be some expanded thing that you do all this time, you spend all this time on, but sometimes it helps. Sometimes I'll be in the middle of the draft, this first draft, and I need to flesh out a character more. I'm not sure what they're doing there sometimes. And if they don't belong there too, they will be kill your darlings. They will be whacked. I'll whack a character. No problem if they don't belong. And I don't mean just killing them off. I mean like they might have to be written completely out. Yes, I mean that's like kind of the basic stuff that I do there. Because you remember, I'm pulling from whatever my basic outline is. These flashcards, these index cards, have the basic description of what the scene is on it, and the wants, opposed, purpose of the scene and the overall movie. I'm just going based off of those ideas in the moment and just letting it pour out of me. But yeah, as we go through the next few weeks and whatnot, the next episode of the draft, I'll talk about when the real work starts. When in between draft 1 and 2, the real work starts for me when it's time to start working on the second draft. And any work happening after the first draft is done is work on the second draft, I suppose. Someone put it to me that way, and I never thought of it that way before. I always called it being in between drafts, and I think I'll title it that way. But my immediate moves after finishing the first draft, just to finish off this week's discussion, I'll do 2 read-throughs twice, right? I'll read through it twice and make small edits as I do. At least on the first read, small edits. On the second read, I read it through and don't stop. Just get through it. And from there comes the in-between stuff, which we will get into next week. On the next week or next month or whenever the next episode, which we will get to on episode 72 of Screen Preach.